Dave Dyson, on the other hand, is a community marketing specialist, so he's in a cut of his own. And our most important guest today is Paul Lalonde. So thanks for joining us about messaging. We're really, really happy to have you here. Correct me if I'm wrong, you are a senior product marketing associate?
That is correct. Yes, I work in the world of messaging day and night, tirelessly here for everybody at Zendesk.
I mean, we don't sleep here at Zendesk. We just make the product better. So.
Exactly.
Also, quick shout out. I'm noticing a few of our Zendesk moderators are in the chat right now. A certain Thomas individual, I believe, just said hello. Glad to have you here, Thomas. If you're not familiar, our Zendesk moderators are the ones who tirelessly work through the community and answer the hardest and toughest questions for you guys. So thanks to all our moderators who are here. Also, hi, Dan Ross. So the way this is going to work, everybody, is we're going to have our presentation on messaging. If you were able to see the itinerary, we do have a few bullet topics that we're going to be addressing. And then at the end, we will have a small Q&A addressing what we've covered here today. I do want to be really specific that this is not a Q&A event. This is a getting to know knowledge share event. So if you did come with product questions on messaging that would be better suited for maybe like a ticket to advocacy, or you're trying to figure out triggers and you're really not sure, this isn't really the event for that. We do realize that there might be a big draw for that type of event. So if you do have questions, still ask them. And if you would like us to have a follow-up event where we do host a Q&A for people to kind of navigate that space of using the product in their instance and addressing those kind of product level questions, let us know and we'll go ahead and schedule one 2 weeks from now so that way we can go ahead and address those. Otherwise, I'm going to jump right into it, Paul, and let you take it away and kind of share what you have to show us about Zendesk Messaging.
Sounds good. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen here. Everybody can see this getting to know Zendesk Messaging. Everybody can see it right now? Yes, okay, awesome. Again, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here to share some information around the topic of messaging. It seems to be something that's driving a lot of curiosity and interest lately. So I'm happy to dive in, share some of my knowledge on the topic, and just introduce you to our new solution, Zendesk Messaging. I thought it would be a good starting point to spend just a few minutes to take a quick look at why messaging is having a bit of a moment right now. We can see that customer engagement preferences have changed. Much of this is either a result or simply accelerated by the global pandemic, no real surprise there. And we're living in a time where the ability to conduct business physically, it's very difficult, and sometimes it's just not possible at all. So to get by, we've seen that customers have had to adopt new ways of getting the things that they need. And businesses, in order to survive, have had no choice but to kind of like digitize their customer experience, so to speak, in order to stay connected with their customers. So everything from sales to service is now happening remote, where online channels are the preferred, if not necessary and only way of getting help. So we've got people stuck at home, they're trying new ways to reach businesses, and suddenly we see that messaging is coming out as the most frequently used new way for customers to get in touch. According to our own research, we're seeing that 2/3 of customers have tried a new way to get help, messaging being the first and foremost way. And we've also seen that customers actually like this, and they want to do more of it. One of our recent studies as well, we've seen that 9 out of 10 customers would like to message a business. So we know that messaging is pretty strong in terms of demand right now. There are a few reasons why people have adopted messaging. First being the convenience element. People are preferring to communicate with businesses over messaging because it's familiar to them. We already use messaging apps to communicate with our friends and family, and we're not really being forced to go somewhere else or to try some other new channel. It's there where we already are and using it today. It's an easy way of getting help, especially when comparing it like relative to other channels like email and voice, for example. There's also the speed element. Messaging is a great way of incorporating self-service with bots, third-party integrations, automations, and whatnot. Customers love self-service because they can get the answers that they need more quickly, and often doing so without even needing to speak to an agent. And companies love it because it's a channel that's really well suited to helping to bring down costs relative to other channels again, and to do all kinds of cool things like automation and whatnot. Lastly, compared to other channels, messaging is one that's easy to deliver a personalized experience on. Today, customers really expect a lot. They want you to know who they are, what you last talked to them about. They want everything to be personalized and tailored to them. And what's great about messaging is that it's really a way of delivering this type of experience in a really customized way without a heavy load on your business. So Zendesk Messaging was really built with all of these things in mind. It makes it easy to stay in touch with rich and engaging conversational experiences, no matter what channel your customers reach you on. That can be social channels, on your website, in your apps. It's fast and easy to set up, and you can customize it with our messaging platform, Sunshine Conversations. At its core, messaging boils down to 4 key benefits for businesses. The first one is around providing support where your customers are. It comes for options for adding messaging to your website, mobile apps, as well as social apps like WhatsApp and Facebook, so that you can have ongoing conversations with your customers across these different channels. The conversation is always ongoing and they never have to repeat themselves. Messaging also comes with our agent workspace that gives agents the context that they need to respond to customers on any messaging channel in a conversational way. So it's really built with conversations in mind. And you can also offer, like I was saying, more personalized interactions. It makes you, messaging is a great way of making yourself appear available 24/7, but without actually having to staff up in order to do so. Our new Flow Builder tool lets you introduce basic self-service and automation to really help resolve issues fast, and often also to help escalate to a customer to an agent if that happens to be needed. And lastly, our messaging platform lets you extend and customize the experience as well. You can do things like send proactive messages, plug in your own custom bot, add integrations like a payment processor to unlock even more advanced use cases. And so enough talk. I know I powered through this like relatively quickly, but I wanted to spend some time doing a quick demo. So I'm just gonna switch my screen around a little bit here and get started. All right. I've broken, we're going to switch to a demo now, and I've kind of broken it into 3 different sections. We're going to start by looking at what the end user sees. So we're going to look at the web messenger on the website that we're looking at. We're going to switch into what the agent sees afterwards, and we're going to finish with the admin view. We're going to look at how we would go basically setting up web messenger as a channel and setting up a bit of basic automation with Flow Builder. So right now, we're on Streamer's Help Center. We can see that they've set up the web widget because we can notice the launcher icon in the bottom right of the screen here. So I'm just going to open it up and I'm going to show what it looks like here. So you can immediately see that my conversation history is there from the last time that I spoke. Notice how this notion of a persistent or ongoing conversation is really one of the main things that differentiates messaging from something like live chat. We can also see how automation is basically embedded into the messaging experience as well. So we can see answer bots taking care of some of the load of the conversation here, as well as some different quick replies that we've got set up in order to send me to the right person to get help with the issue that I'm experiencing today. So I'm going to go ahead and select technical support here. Say, let's say that I'm having a problem with downloading here. Unable to stream content, no available devices. It actually looks here as if this is an issue that a bot can't solve. So it's going to actually, looks like I'm going to have to get a human involved to help me. So before I do that, though, we're going to have AnswerBot quickly collect some information that's going to be useful for an agent when this ticket gets handed over to them. So right here from within the conversation, we're doing some simple data capture here to facilitate the job when it gets over to an agent next. So just bear with me while I fill in some of this stuff. Okay. All this information is going to be really useful for troubleshooting. AnswerBot's super happy, has all the information that he needs. Now we're going to switch over to what the agent view is going to look like next. Okay, so we filled out our form. We're ready to speak to an agent. The suite comes with our unified agent workspace where agents can keep track of all of their conversations in a coordinated and seamless way. An agent would actually start their day first by setting themselves to be online. In order to start taking messages, I would actually have to click on the accept button here because we can already see that my message is waiting in queue. So I'm going to go ahead and accept it. And this is going to bring up the conversational agent workspace here. So there's a couple of things that I'm going to bring to your attention. The first being like some of the contextual elements that we're looking at. Customer context is critical, not only to delivering like a more personalized experience to the customer, but also helping make the agent's experience more efficient. So what we can see to the right here is some information about just myself, information that was gathered and passed over from the messaging experience into Agent Workspace, my name here, my email address, some information on my preferred language as well. And I can also see a history of all the different interactions that I've had with Streamer as well, the fictitious company that we were looking at before. This might be useful because like you can see here that I've reached out a number of times over the last day or so. So clearly I might be having a problem that needs to be looked into. That might be helpful with the issue that I'm looking at right now. If you look inside of the middle of the pane here, this is our conversations pane. And we can see that the conversation that I've had so far with AnswerBot, I can see the data that I've captured inside of it, like the device type, the issue in the region, which is going to help speed up the troubleshooting. And you can also notice that this information is also available to the agent without even having to have asked a single question yet. Messaging happens in real time. So what I'm actually going to do is just like split this this view for a second to show you what I mean by this. Say I'm an end user and I want to actually say something back like, "Hi, I need some help." Inside of the agent workspace, as I'm typing, I can actually see the typing indicator, which lets me know that the customer is live with me right now. It also says that the customer is active. And so I know that this customer is in need of immediate support. And if I reply, the customer should also be able to see, we can see that my name is here. We can see that I am replying back. So it's that typical typing indicator, knowing that a conversation is happening in the moment, like we're accustomed to in messaging apps today. Let's say, hypothetically, I've resolved this issue at this point. We're ready to move on. What we can actually do is just quickly use a macro here. And I'm just gonna like wrap up the conversation really quickly. Submitting this ticket as solved. And when I do this, you're actually gonna notice here that AnswerBot sends a CSAT survey, which I can respond to. I didn't do much, but I did a great job. Here we go. And then what you're going to notice as well is that you can actually set this to however much of a time delay as you want, but AnswerBot is basically going to start over, welcoming you to Streamer so that you can basically get help and not get stuck in this sort of like, you know, an infinite loop where you can't actually get any help from AnswerBot any longer. So that's kind of the agent experience in a nutshell. And what I'm actually going to do now is backtrack a little bit and finish with the admin side of things. So what we're first going to do is start with the web messenger setup. So first, what you're going to actually want to do is make sure that you've enabled messaging as a for your Zendesk instance. You would do so here. There's a toggle that you need to turn on. It isn't done by default. So this is something that you actually need to go in and set up yourself the first time that you're going to do it in order to access the web messenger as a channel. Once you've done that, you can actually go in and customize your channel, which I'm going to do here. I'm going to go to the Channels tab. Now, I'm not going to set up a brand new web messenger channel. We're inside the Streamer instance that I was showing before. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on Streamer here. And I'm going to guide you through a couple of things that are pretty useful when it comes to the initial setup of the web messenger. The first basics tab here, this is what you're going to call the channel for internal reference. This is not how it's actually going to show up to your customers. You can actually go and click on the Flow Builder button here if you were immediately ready to, you know, feeling super motivated and ready to go build your flow already. We're going to get to that in a second. I just wanted to show you a couple of other things that are important in the channel setup here. The style section is really where you will customize the web messenger to reflect your brand. Primary color here is what ends up dictating what the color is of your launcher and header. And you can also do things like customize the message color within the web messenger as well. You can easily drag and drop any logo that you want. I put my Streamer logo in here, and then you can put anything you want in the header. Naturally, people often use their brand name here for the header. You can also add a little bit of description, either like your tagline, when you're online, or just any kind of information that you want to appear in the title. There's a couple of options here about like placement of the launcher icon, as well as you can also have a little bit of text appear above the launcher that asks that will automatically populate to kick off the conversation, like, hey, do you need any help today? Inside of the installation tab here, if you know a thing or two about HTML, you can take this little snippet of code here and put it on any website that you want. But we've also made it easy for you in case you just want to turn on messaging within your help center. Just toggle this little thing right here, and you'll automatically be able to embed the web messenger directly in your help center. What's also neat is this little previewer guy over here. You can see that any of the changes that you're doing, anything that you're configuring here, whether it's like the style and whatnot, you'll get a sense of what you're doing by previewing it here without actually having to publish the changes or make them live. So say I'm happy with this, say I'm happy with all these settings, I would normally click on Save here. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to cancel out, and I'm going to show you last thing being Flow Builder, and then my demo will be over, and then we can open the floor to questions. So Flow Builder, in order to access it, again, just click on the Flow Builder pane here. I'm going to go straight into Streamer and click on Edit Flow. And a little bit of orientation here. So when you build out a flow, it's basically a representation of a conversation between AnswerBot and your end user. The first box here is essentially a step that you're setting. You're going to create a greeting. I've already got it here. Hi, welcome to Streamer. This is pretty quite straightforward. You can configure it to be whatever message you want. The next step is where you start actually branching out and creating what we call options. Options will actually present themselves to end users in the form of something that most people are very familiar with, quick replies. And this is really how you branch out your flow to send customers down different paths based on their inquiry. You know, the question comes up like, how can I help you? So there's options for my account, for shows on Streamer. What we're actually going to do here is poke around the technical support branch a little bit, and I'm going to show you how you would actually go about configuring an option. So there's a couple options within tech support that are already set up. Can't log in, unable to stream devices, receiving unsupported platform. And the one that I'm going to add here for us is the one on how to download content to my Streamer app. Normally what you're going to do is, if you're going to add an option, you would go ahead and add it here. How do I download content to my Streamer app? But after you've actually done that, every option needs to have a step underneath it. In order to add a step is basically like the action that needs to be taken once the option is presented. And I have 4 different steps that I can choose from. I can either send a message, I can show relevant Help Center articles, I can even branch out and present more options, or we can do what I did before when I showed AnswerBot collecting data from me for a ticket to be created to send over to an agent for troubleshooting. That's this transfer to agent step here. I'm going to choose the Help Center article one and show you how you would go about surfacing a Help Center article as a suggestion straight within the messaging experience here. If I want, I can add a message before I suggest a Help Center article. And basically, Flow Builder is connected to the Help Center. So if I know that I have an article that can help resolve this issue, I'll look for it. I can select from it here. And then it becomes, it's automatically going to surface within this branch of the flow for this troubleshooting branch here. You can actually suggest up to 6 Help Center articles here. This little number guy down here will actually let you know how many Help Center articles you've suggested within this part of the branch. And then say I'm satisfied with everything, or maybe I want to just check and see where I'm at with this, and I want to see how it looks. We have this nifty little previewer tab here again, which lets us know just basically like, how does the flow look so far? Where are we at within the flow? What is it going to look like once I've reached this part of it? And I can see here that my flow would basically look like, hey, welcome to Streamer. You know, what can I help you with? I would have selected tech support. How do you describe the issue? And the article that we just built here as a suggestion shows up as well. If I'm happy with that, all of that, I would normally click on publish here. And just like that, I've created my, my flow, and I'm helping out my customers faster with our new Zendesk messaging solution. That's all I had. I know I went through things pretty fast. At this point, I think like we might want to open up the floor to some Q&A. Is that right, Devin? I hand it back to you.
Absolutely. And by the way, I just want a big shout out for Paul for that presentation. That was fantastic. And a big shout out also to a recent addition to the event. And please correct me if I'm mispronouncing this name, but Palome, who's one of our product managers, is actually in the Q&A chat right now, addressing some of the great questions that you guys are asking. So big shout out and welcome to her. Thanks for helping out with that area. We definitely were not expecting this many questions, and we're excited to see a lot of engagement on messaging. So with that being said, we are going to address a few more questions before the end of the event. We only have 3 minutes, so we're not going to get to all of them. I do apologize about that. But in 2 weeks from today, we will be hosting a live Q&A on messaging. Palome, what our product manager, will be there as well. So if we don't get to your question today, we're going to go ahead and take those questions, answer as many as we can, but we will also be bringing some of those answers to the live Q&A in 2 weeks. So bear with us as we go through some of these right now and address as many as we can. One question that we do have that I think is fairly easy to go ahead and address right now. And again, Paul, if you can't get to this today, let us know, that's fine. But is there a limit to how long the chat history is, or perhaps a limit on the count of messages for messaging?
Yeah, that's a good question. The history, as far as I'm aware, is as long as you have a history, it will appear in the messaging experience. I don't believe that there's a technical limitation there. I can double check that just to be sure with the product team and follow up with that. But as far as I'm aware, like as long as like your history is as long as you've engaged with the company, it will show up.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks, Paul. And then we did have one question that was answered. And I think some clarification on this would be really helpful. But we had Elena ask, what are the main differences between messaging and chat? And can you utilize a bot in chat as well? And I know this is a question that gets brought up a lot. And maybe we could just have some soft clarification on the two right now.
Yeah, definitely. I was expecting that question to come up, so I actually prepared this a little slide, which I'm going to try and get back to a show to just quickly dive into that topic. So live chat, let me just set this up so it looks a little bit better. It comes up a lot, this question. And the way that we like to think about it is really like live chat. It tends to have a distinct start and stop and can only be really done in what we call like a real-time setting. In other words, it's session-based. So you have to stay in the window that you're like the typical web browser window. Make sure you start and finish your conversation then and there. And then if ever you happen to close your browser window, you basically, conversation ends, you need to start everything over from scratch. Messaging, on the other hand, allows you to start the conversation and then, I don't know, you can go run an errand or pick up the conversation back up whenever you want to. You can actually have both real-time conversations, or you can have more like casual ongoing ones that can span over hours, days, even weeks sometimes. And because you have that conversation history there, it just really feels like an ongoing dialogue, the same way that we see in messaging apps and the way that we talk to our friends and family. The conversation history is always there. It's persistent. It never goes away. The reason that we're so excited about messaging is because we think that those types of things, that flexibility that messaging offers, really makes for a better customer experience.
No, that's great. So more like a living, breathing ticket that is more at the customer's pace more than anything else.
100%.
Well, awesome. I know we're going a little over. I did want to take a moment to introduce Palome. And again, if I'm mispronouncing your name, please let me know. but she is one of our PMs for messaging. You might have seen her already answering quite a few questions in the Q&A section of the event. But a quick welcome to Palomi. Glad to have you here. Thanks so much for your help with this.
Hi, yeah, well, thank you, everyone. Paul and I are actually on the same team. We're on the product marketing team for messaging and automation at Zendesk. So thank you for having us and all the great questions. Trying to get through them as fast as I can, but we'll definitely have a follow-up session on Q&A.
Awesome. Yeah, so everyone, just some context on what we're going to be doing moving forward. Again, we do have some questions here in the Q&A section. We will try to address as many of those as we can today, and you might see that with our post-mort of the event, some of the questions that were here highlighted that we'll go ahead and post that with the recording of the event. For questions that we don't get to today, so if you asked a question and didn't get it answered, we do invite you to attend our live Q&A that will take place 2 weeks from today. Keep those questions ready. If you can't wait till then, understandable. The Help Center, advocacy, and the Zendesk community are always ready and welcome to answer and address these questions. We have, again, a lot of expertise in that space, especially when it comes to our moderators who are the best and brightest of the community. So go ahead and post your questions there if you do have them and you can't wait. But otherwise, 2 weeks from now, we'll go ahead and have the invite up actually at the end of the day today. And you guys can register for that, get your questions ready, and we'll be there the deep dive messaging for the whole community. But in terms of this event, thanks for attending. We're really glad you all can attend. Great questions. Paul, you are the rock star of the day for sure. So really big shout out to sharing that information with us. Pretty deep dive for 30 minutes. I'm very impressed. And again, to Dave, Brett, and Palomi, thanks for supporting this event. It wouldn't have been as awesome without you guys. So, and to everyone who joined, thanks for attending, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.